Dhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Munatira Anachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamunatira Anachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्री प्रकाश जगन्नाथ बलदेव माई की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंचतत्व की जय श्री गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की श्री गोपाल की श्री गुरु हरि बोल ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with chants and songs is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu is welcome all of you. So, today we'll be taking up verse number 3:31:16. The chapter, this chapter is entitled as Lord Kapila's instructions on the movements of the living entities. That is, it's not a Jantu's prayers. So let us start the verse 3:31:16. Jnanam yadetadadhat katamassadeva traikalikam sthiracharesh anuvartitamashah tam jiva karma padavim anuvartamanas tapatrayopashamanaya vayam vajema. Jnanam yadetadadhat katamassadeva traikalikam sthiracharesh anuvartitamshah tam jiva karma padavim anuvartamanas tapatrayopashamanaya vayam bhajema. Anybody wants to recite? You can try.
Hare Krishna. Jnanam
Yes.
yate adhatat katamasya deva trekalikam sthirachareshanuvartitam shah tam jiva karma padavim anuvartamanas tapatreyo vayam bhajema.
Thank you. So now,
May,
put the word to our name. Yes, Mother, you want to recite?
may I, Prabhu?
Yes, okay, please.
Gnan, ज्ञानं यदेतददधात् कथमः स देवस्त्रैकालिकं स्थिरचरेष्वनुवर्तितां सः तं तं जीवकर्म पदवीम् अनुवर्तमानास्तापत्रयोपशमनाय वयं भजेम.
Thank you. So word to word meaning. Jnanam, knowledge. Yat, which. Etat, this. Adadhat, gave. Katamaha, who other than. Saha, that. Devaha, the personality of Godhead. Traikalikam, of the three phases of time. Sthirachareshu, in the inanimate and animate objects. Anuvartita, dwelling. Amshaha, his partial representation. Tam, unto him. Jiva, of the Jiva souls. Karma Padavim, the path of fruitive activities. Anuvartamanaha, who are pursuing. Tapatraya, from the threefold miseries. Upashamanaya, for getting free. Vayam, we. Bhajema, must surrender. Translation and purport by Divangi Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation and purport. No one other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the localized Paramatma, the partial representation of the Lord, is directing all inanimate and animate objects. He is present in the three phases of time, past, present, and future. Therefore, the conditioned soul is engaged in different activities by his direction. And in order to get free from threefold miseries of this conditional life, we have to surrender unto him only. Purport. When a conditioned soul is seriously anxious to get out of the influence of the material clutches, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated within him as Paramatma, gives him this knowledge, surrender unto me. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, give up all other engagements, just surrender unto me. It is to be accepted that the source of knowledge is the Supreme Person. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mata smrtir jnanam apohanam cha. The Lord says, through me, one gets real knowledge and memory, and one also forgets through me. To one who wants to be materially satisfied or who wants to lord it over material nature, the Lord gives the opportunity to forget his service and engage in the so-called happiness of material activities. Similarly, when one is frustrated in lording it over material nature and is very serious about getting out of this material entanglement, the Lord from within gives him the knowledge that he has to surrender unto him, then there is liberation. This knowledge cannot be imparted by anyone other than the Supreme Lord or his representative. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya instructs Rupa Goswami that the living entities wander in life after life, undergoing the miserable conditions of material existence. But when one is very anxious to get free from the material entanglement, he gets enlightenment through a spiritual master and Krishna. This means that Krishna as a super soul is seated within the heart of the living entity. And when the living entity is serious, the Lord directs him to take shelter of his representative, a bona fide spiritual master. Directed from within and guided externally by the spiritual master, one attains the path of Krishna consciousness, which is the way out of the material clutches. Therefore, there is no possibility of one is being situated in his own position unless he is blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless he is enlightened with the supreme knowledge, one has to undergo the severe penalties of the hard struggle for existence in the material nature. The spiritual master is therefore the mercy manifestation of the Supreme Person. The conditioned soul has to take direct instruction from the spiritual master, and thus it gradually becomes enlightened to the path of Krishna consciousness. The seed of Krishna consciousness is sown within the heart of the conditioned soul, and when one hears instruction from the spiritual master, the seed fructifies and one's life is blessed. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So it's a very important chapter. So in fact, hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam, reading Shrimad Bhagavatam, reciting the shlokas from Shrimad Bhagavatam, so wonderful, right? Very, very auspicious. And everybody cannot do that. Unless Krishna selects, we cannot come into the program itself. So Shrimad Bhagavatam is more than just academic reading. You know, actually we need to put into practice in our day-to-day lives. Then only it has some real value. So it's a very wonderful statement by Srila Prabhupada on the nature of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is worth meditating. Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam 113, the purport he says, we should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam daily as much as possible. And then everything will be clarified. See what Krishna Prabhupada says? We should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam daily as much as possible, and then everything will be clarified. Why? For Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic literature. Nagama kalpataror galitam phalam. So it was written by Vyasadeva, Mahamuni Krite, when he was self-realized. So the more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more its knowledge becomes clear. Each and every verse is transcendental. In fact, the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam is very nicely described in 12th canto, 13th chapter, verse number 18. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnava Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Jiyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkrutam Tachrunvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuche Naraha. It says, Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana, spotless. It is most dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work, together with the processes of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. This last line is very important, where it says, anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. See, some of very good points. Why Bhagavatam we have to meditate on it and what is the benefit, right? See, first point is each and every verse needs to be studied and meditated and contemplated the whole day. What you should do? Each verse should be studied, meditated, and contemplated. So the contemplation is the remembrance of Krishna. Now, the remembrance of Krishna will naturally inspire the devotee with practical realization of those verses, right? And if those practical realizations are applied, then it is a beginning part of purification of existence. In the end, it becomes the perfection of existence. The second point is attachment to Srimad Bhagavatam should reflect in our behavior. Whatever we were yesterday should be forgotten. Today is a new day. We say Happy New Year, right? But every day is a new day. So today is a new day now. And we have to change our character and behavior as per Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, Srimad Bhagavatam study is only a ritual. And thirdly, whatever endeavor we may do, it does not matter what will be the result of those endeavor. See, the result is up to Krishna, right? No. So in the course of these endeavors, we should not agitate other living entities. Very important point to understand. Means we read Bhagavatam and so many things we try to tell others. So in these type of endeavors, we should not agitate other living entities. If we agitate others, then we are also not peaceful. So even if we succeed, then the endeavor is not really a success. But on the other hand, even if the endeavor is failure, but we are not hurt any living entities, then it is complete success. So the process of Krishna consciousness is based on the principle of loving dealings with all living entities and nothing more. You know, there is no situation of the world economy that could have been more apt than the present, right? We are seeing everywhere. To drive home the point of the futility of running behind material happiness. Everybody is running on, but the futility is there. See, even the present turmoil, right? People are planning and scheming to achieve what? Permanent happiness. But if you see in this chapter, prayers of unborn child, that is the Jantu's prayers, living entity, which is in the womb of the mother. Prayers of the unborn child. Actually, there are 10 verses. It starts from 12, 331, 12 to 21. are the prayers of the unborn child. These prayers strongly establishes the supremacy of Lord Krishna and the futility of running behind anyone else other than Supreme Lord Krishna. So, a few key points you can just try to relate. First one is because by the prayers of this unborn child prayers. Number one, through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, right, we should understand the obnoxious situation of the unborn child in the womb of the mother. And we should make a firm determination that never again by desiring unwanted things. So this creates, what does it create? It creates waves and whirlpool of material difficulties. It is known as Gunormi Chakram. So therefore, instead of further concocting our difficulties, we should only have unflinching faith in Krishna. And the third point is, by looking at and remembering the most beautiful transcendental form of Krishna, Vamshi Vibhushitakaran, this flute, right? Shama Sundara form. We should come to the realization that I do not know anyone else other than Krishna. See, why are we running behind other things or people when we have such a wonderful Lord present before us in his transcendental form? See, this is a mockery of our mental existence, right? So this is subject matter of Lord Kapila's instructions through the prayers of the unborn child. You know, the futility of running behind material happiness is also very nicely brought out in Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, 18th verse, 1, 5, 18. Tasyeva heto prayate kovido nalabhyate yat brahmatam paryadah tallabhyate dukavadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhiraram hasa. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet Patal. As far as happiness is derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time. Just here, just as in course of time, we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. The same way. And another beautiful verse in Bhagavatam brings out the same aspect wonderfully. That is 7:742. Sukhaya dukkha mokshaya sankalpa iha karminah sadapnoti ya dukkham anihaya sukhavritah. It says, in this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminishes distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. But it says, actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins the activities for happiness, his conditions of distresses begin. This word from 7:40 Prahlad prayers. So Srila Prabhupada says in the wonderful, unparalleled purport, he says, everyone begins his activities with some plan and ambition. But actually, from the beginning of one's plan to the end, one does not derive any happiness. On the contrary, as soon as one begins acting according to his plan, his life of distress immediately begins. Therefore, what should we do? Prabhupada says, one should not be ambitious to dissipate the unhappy condition of life. For one cannot do anything about them. See, without endeavor, one can get the amount of happiness and distress for which he is destined. And one cannot change this. So, therefore, it is better to use one's time for advancement in the spiritual life of Krishna consciousness. One should not waste his valuable life as a human being, right? We should not waste our valuable life. It is better to utilize this life for developing Krishna consciousness without ambitions for so-called happiness. So Prabhupada, in his one of the very lecture on Lord Kapila's teachings, he says that an intelligent person should try to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Human life is actually meant for getting in touch with the lotus feet of Krishna. That should be our only business. Therefore, any intelligent person should learn from such transcendental literatures. And the words of pure devotees, like Srila Prabhupada and Guru, We should honestly try to change the course of his life. Their instructions are very beneficial to all of us. So we are all very fortunate souls that have got the shelter of a pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada and all the gurus. So we should be grateful to Lord Krishna and more importantly to Srila Prabhupada, because it is now in our hands to utilize the life for the purpose for which it has been awarded to us. See, in this chapter, the 14th verse, it says, I am separate, the unborn child, that is the living entity is praying, in the womb of the mother. I am separated from the Supreme Lord because of my being in this material body, which is made of 5 elements. And therefore, my qualities and senses are being misused. And although I am essentially spiritual, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental to material nature and the living entities, because he is devoid of such a material body, and because he is always glorious in his spiritual qualities, I offer my obeisances unto him. This is one of the prayers, 14th prayer, Badi Jantus. So these are the prayers by the unborn child within the womb of the mother. The difficulty with us is that as soon as the material body is decided, we have to squeeze ourselves in the womb. So whichever body we accept, we have to squeeze ourselves. Otherwise, we are not born. And more so in the human existence, it is a very obnoxious situation. So the living entity, he prays continuously within the womb of the mother. What does it say? Oh Lord, how many sins I have committed, due to which I have got this position. So the description of the moments within the womb of the mother is very beautifully described in this chapter. We have to go through this beautiful chapter. See, if we really study these prayers, and the actual movements of the living entity within the womb, then we helplessly decide that come what may, I will not squeeze myself again into another womb. So all these gynecologists, this is about their training, from everything is coming from Bhagavad. The whole beautiful 9 months, 10 months, how it's being born, how it develops, it's beautifully given in this chapter. See, we are already born, and by Krishna's arrangement, we have forgotten the pains of birth. But we can see so many children, right? Barely they are alive when they are born. This was our condition also. But somehow or the other, by the grace of our mother, we are able to see the light of these things, right? Otherwise, it is not possible. So in that condition, while suffering, we are suffering inside, right? The living is praying that because I have been engaged in the material body made of 5 great elements, I am lying here in the pool of blood, pus, and whatnot. And he says, because you are transcendental, I am addressing you as to why I am here and when will I get liberated from this position. See, Paramatma, the Supreme, the Paramatma is also there, Atma, that is living entity, is also there. And he sees the Paramatma in the womb of the mother and it is praying to him directly. So the 5 material elements, as we know, if we start from higher element to the lower elements, right? We start from the sky or ether. From ether, there is Vayu, air. And after air, there is fire. Then Jal, water. And Prithvi, earth. Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. So these are the 5 gross elements. And we have 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and false ego. We don't see the mind. Can we see the mind? But it's so powerful, right? We don't see the mind. We have never seen intelligence. And we are never conscious of false ego. But this false ego dominates our whole life. Because the false ego is beginning of subtle body. And slowly the subtle body is developed as per the condition of the mind. So as soon as the mind is conditioned, the mind gives you ether, air, fire, water, and earth according to its own will, and the body is born. So mind is really the main thing. That's why whatever goes on in the body, particularly in the heart and intelligence, is revealed in our face. Mind is the controller of the face also. Our face reflects the mind, correct? We can see from the mind whether he's happy or the distressed or whatever it is. So the living entity prays. He says, some Krishna, somehow or the other, I am not engaged, engaged in this body. And I know that you are transcendental. You don't have birth, growth, or death. Please bestow mercy upon me and somehow or the other relieve me from this impediment. So these things are narrated by Lord Kapila to his mother Devahuti. We saw from the previous chapters, right? Kapil Muni is giving answers to the questions by Devahuti. So Kapil Muni is Mahajan. great personality. And we've seen that we have to take help of such great personalities who are great because of their knowledge and activities. And such people have to be followed. And there are 12 Mahajanas, 12 in number. Swayambhu Narado Shambhu, Kumaro Kapilo Manuhu, Prahanada Janako Bhishmo, Balir Vaiyasaki Vayam. So Yamaraj is speaking this verse. He says that Swayambhu, that is Brahma, Narada, then Shambhu, Shiva, Kumaras, 4 Kumaras, Kapil Muni. We are studying his instructions because he's Mahajan, right? And then Manu, the name Manu suggests the birth of Manu because Manu was born from the mind of Brahmaji. And mind in Sanskrit is known as Mana. That's why he is known as Manu. And he has given the Manu Samhita, which gives the main principles to be followed by mankind. So out of these 12 Mahajanas, Kapil Muni is giving us the instructions of these Jantu's prayers. And that too, this 14th verse is prayer of the unborn child in the womb of the mother, right? It has practical value for our existence. We are not born. And in the future also, living entities will be born. So we have to take these practical lessons. See, the domestic scene in majority of households in the morning time, when children are getting ready to leave for the school, adults are about to leave for the office, is really one of frantic searching for things, correct? No, we all gone through this. So right from young ones to the old ones, everybody forgets where they have placed their things. And this results in the morning time being the most stressful one, searching for things. So we see that children, after putting in long hours of study, they forget the whole thing when they see the question paper. We even hear so many doctors operating the right side of the body instead of the left side out of forgetfulness. On top of it all, we conveniently forget all the favors we have received from others. And thereby we become ungrateful personalities. And ungrateful personalities are condemned everywhere. So this forgetfulness plays havoc in the lives of everyone without exception. The real havoc caused by forgetfulness is so sharply pointed out by the human soul in its prayers while in the mother's womb. That is the 15th prayer. It says, the human soul, further, it says, the living entity is put under the influence of material nature and continues a harsh struggle for existence on the path of repeated birth and death. So this conditional life is due to his forgetfulness of his relationship, nashta smritihi, loss of memory, with the Supreme Personality Godhead. So without the Lord's mercy, how can he again engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord? So this all makes us feel that forgetfulness is a great curse. And we start wondering as to how to get rid of this curse. So if we look deep into this matter, right, we'll understand that even though forgetfulness leads to a lot of troubles, a lot of chaos and confusions, there are still advantages and merits associated with forgetfulness. Now suppose we start remembering all our activities in our previous births. Or for that matter, if we remember everything that happens in our lives, minute by minute, how can we survive without being insane? Right? So forgetfulness is a healing agent that makes us forget the so many untoward things happening in our lives. The loss of near and dear ones, the insults, injuries given up to us by us others. So if they keep on lodging these things in our heart, how can we lead a normal life? So in these cases, our forgetfulness is a real boon. See, all said and done, we have to accept that a good memory power is indeed essential for successful running of a household or even an enterprise or a country. Then what to talk of running the whole cosmic show? The Supreme Lord, the controller, must be having a prodigious memory, right? Memory power. In order to manage the whole thing so meticulously and perfectly. See, all the planets, sun was coming at a time, the sun is setting on time, everything, right? So Srila Prabhupada says in his purport of 15 for 15, Anta Pravishta Shasta Jananam. The living entity forgets as soon as he quits his present body. But he begins his work again, initiated by the Supreme Lord. Although he forgets, the Lord gives him intelligence to renew his work where he ended his last life. So our greatest good fortune is that our Lord, Supreme Personal Godhead, has an exceptional memory power. As we see again from this verse in Adi Puran, Krishna says to Arjuna, "O Arjuna, listen attentively. When the living entity chants my name," please hear very carefully. Krishna is telling in Adi Puran, "O Arjuna, listen attentively. When the living entity chants my name, whether out of devotion or indifference, then his name will remain forever in my heart. I will never forget such a soul." See, we are all insignificant. We insignificant mortals are so much dependent upon this memory power of the Lord to remember the good things done by us. Correct? That in Ishopanishad, text 17, there is a very fervent appeal to the memory of the Lord, where it says, "Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you." He's praying to the Lord, right? So, fearing the worst, that we will be overwhelmed by our forgetfulness of the Lord at the time of death. We don't know, maybe we will remember him or not at that time, the last moment of life. Sri Kulashika Alvar, he prays in his famous prayer. He says, "My Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be locked in their network. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think of you?" So this wonderful magnificent Lord Krishna, he replies in Varaha Purana Charama Shloka that all that a devotee has to do is to surrender unto him. Surrender to him when in full possession of his faculties. When we are very healthy and at that time we should surrender to Krishna. So in that case, at the moment of death, even if the devotee were to lie unconscious and senseless as a stone, the Lord, with a long memory, remembers what the devotee did when he was well. So at that time, that when he's not able to do anything after that, Krishna takes the person under his wings and bestows on him the best of all worlds. He remembers. So Lord assures, "Aham smarami mad bhaktam," telling us that not a single good thing we do to him is forgotten. See, as we relax ourselves, the Lord indeed, he remembers. Actually, he remembers everything, but he takes only the good ones. But suppose we shudder at the thought of what would be our position if the Lord starts remembering all our offenses also so meticulously. Correct. So at that moment, here it comes, Lord Ramachandra comes into the picture, whose glorious appearance, right? It pacifying us and assuring us with this magnificent attribute as given in Ramayana, where he says, "See, Lord Ram is eternally pleased by even a single small favor done at some point of time." Lord Ram is eternally pleased, even a small favor done at a small point of time, some point of time. Whereas he forgets immediately, in a jiffy, all the bad turns done to him, however grave and numerous they may be. He forgets about the bad things. Only the good things immediately he repents. So this attribute of the Lord, importance for the sinful, is of paramount importance for the sinful entities like us, right? That is why the Lord is glorified as Hari, may they say, whose brain works only for the deliverance of the conditioned soul. 4:30:24 Bhagavatam. So let us all take shelter of the magnanimously compassionate Lord Ramchandra, right? Whose every word, gesture, every action inspires and enchants us beyond measure. So we, in our relationship with the living entity, should make an earnest effort to remember only the good things and forget the bad things. See, just like our boat on the shore, it floats here and there, right? If not properly anchored, no, what happens? It will move in here and there. So similarly, mind, when not anchored to Krishna, becomes very restless. And it burns us in fire of material existence. With the help of fuel of material moods. So the spiritual master who is transcendental to these modes is our only shelter. who can take us out of these modes and so service unto and put us in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. So we have to focus our mind to Krishna. The modes of mental nature, sattva, rajo, and tamogud, goodness, passion, and ignorance, they are compared to fuel, which burns us in the fire of mental existence. See, we are all burning every moment in this fire. My Guru Maharaj used to say, we are being cooked. We are being cooked right from the time when we are in the womb of our mother. In fact, in the 17th verse, mentions the condition of the child in the womb. The child's body is scorched by the mother's gastric fire when he is in the mother's womb. Once we are out, we are continuously cooked by circumstances around us. Right. So, what is the way out of fire of mental existence? Samsara davanala nalali the loka tranaya karunya ghana ghanat. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. So, just as a cloud, it pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. That's why Jadabharata, he instructs King Rahuna in Srimad Bhagavatam 5, 11, 17. He says, this uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, the mind will grow more and more powerful and it will become victorious. Although the mind is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the soul. O king, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And do this with great care. Very nicely given by Jadabharata to King Rahuna in 5, 11, 17. So just like how the arrow maker, he did not get distracted by the circumstances around him, but remained steadily focused on his goal. We should focus on our ultimate goal of life, Krishna. See, there may be so many distractions on our way, and distress also will be there. But neglecting all such distractions and disturbances as very futile, waste of time. And understanding the real purpose of our life is to simply glorify and serve the Lord and His devotees. We should just march forward in the process of bhakti. See, this is not a one-time process, right? But a lifetime process. Mind is kept under control by the help of steady intelligence, right? So intelligence can be kept steady by taking shelter of sadhu and shastras, guru, sadhu and shastra. So we should sincerely endeavor to take association of sadhus whenever we get an opportunity and serve them consistently. Daily chant holy names. Study and follow scriptures like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Then it's possible. See, 3:31:18 is a very wonderful verse in this chapter which we are reading. See, this verse is one of the verses chanted by all of us. And my Guru Maharaj said, all the prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam, of all the prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, there is one set of prayers that we cannot claim not to know because every one of us have chanted these prayers, Jantu's prayers. You also chanted these prayers. In the womb of the mother, right? All of you are more, see, many of us are maybe chanters of these prayers, maybe more recent. Some of them maybe 6 years ago. If any prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam we should remember, it is these prayers. And all these verses, and all the verses in these prayers, my Maharaj emphasized 3 verses. 3:31:12, 3:31:13, and 3:31:18. Of all the prayers of the unborn child, we should seriously study these prayers. And of all the 3 verses, 3:31:18 is the conclusion actually of what the child is feeling in the womb of the mother. We must not forget the background as to why the child is chanting this verse. Number 1, the abominable condition of the child in the womb. The child's condition in the womb is abominable. See, the child is in a very difficult state, right? In the materialistic point of view, one thinks the child is peaceful in the womb. But Bhagavatam tells us that this is completely opposite. For one thing, the child is bent like a bow, ready to shoot an arrow. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that any one of us in that position cannot even last a day, not even an hour. It is so painful. On top of that, the child has other companions in the womb, and these are other companies are the worms. So they become his brothers, worms. The word is known as Sodara. They are worms, but they become brothers. So whatever mother is feeling, if mother is not happy, then the child is also not happy in the womb. When the mother is upset, the child kicks more, and the child becomes a bit upset. And if the mother decides that today I'm going to eat a lot of chilies, the child suffers like anything. The child is totally helpless. See, there is no electricity and light inside the womb. You cannot survive even one night without lights. And we have survived 9 months in the womb without any light. There is no light. Hardly any good air. What air you can breathe inside when the air you are breathing has already been breathed by the mother, and they are breathing the air that is left over. Everything that you get in the womb is the leftover. Yet we foolishly think that the time in the womb is a blissful time. When the child kicks, no, in the womb, actually, child is in difficulty. But when the mother feels the kick, she says, "Oh, this is very nice." For the mother, it is nice. For the child, it is a sign of distress. In all the ways, the child is not winning in the womb. Child is losing in the womb. At that point, when nothing can help the child, see, have you been in such situations where you feel that a certain kind of pain is so intolerable, you feel better to die? We will all go through at some point of time of life, right? So the child reaches that point in this ninth month of his life. He can't take the pain. And how does he continue to exist? That is the second point, the causeless mercy of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that it is possible for the child to continue existing in the womb because of the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. You will never find any verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where the words causeless mercy is repeated twice. It is only in this verse that causeless mercy is stated twice in the translation by Srila Prabhupada, because it shows that if ever we ask ourselves, is Krishna really merciful? Then this verse should put that suspicion, no, to rest, because the child confirms that by the mercy of Krishna, he has become conscious of his forgetful condition. And this is the starting point of our spiritual life. Third is, what is the starting point of spiritual life? See, the child confirms that by the mercy of Krishna, he has become conscious of the frightful condition. And this is the starting point of our spiritual life. We must see the mercy of Krishna. We must see the mercy of devotees of Krishna when we are awakened in Krishna consciousness. So the starting point of spiritual life begins with one word, and that is gratitude. The moment we are grateful to somebody, right, that has sweat and bled just so that we can come to Krishna, that itself will give causeless mercy of Supreme Personality of God. Krishna becomes very kind when he sees that you are grateful to him and to his devotees. So this is very important. He said that if you want your mind to be peaceful and you want to control your mind, then you should control it by expressing gratitude. Until you learn to express gratitude, until you learn to see the hand of Krishna in everything, you cannot be peaceful in the mind. We will always be disturbed because every condition that comes into to us, we do not see the silver lining, right? We don't see it. It could be worse. Instead, we see why it is not better. The moment you think why something is not better, that means you are not grateful. There is a direct connection between a peaceful person and a grateful person. A grateful person is automatically peaceful, and a peaceful person is automatically grateful. See, one cannot say that his mind is disturbed and is expressing gratitude. The child becomes peaceful because he accepts his condition. In fact, in the 12th verse, this right, when we accept that we are in the condition because of our own misgivings, and we don't blame anyone for our difficulties. then the process of Krishna consciousness actually starts. Till then, we may profess to be Krishna conscious, but actually speaking, we are very much still bodily conscious. Krishna consciousness begins when we actually start thinking Krishna. The fourth point is, from acceptance comes the gift of tolerance. See, the gift of the unborn child is that he accepted his condition. That is why the child can tolerate. If we accept whatever condition comes, in that acceptance comes the gift of tolerance. The gift of tolerance comes automatically from Krishna when he sees that you accept the condition as it is. The next step of acceptance is repentance. That is why the verse after, in the 13th verse, it says, no, I, the pure appreciating now bound by activities, am lying in the womb of my mother by arrangement of Maya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him, who is also here with me, but who is unaffected and changeless. He is unlimited, but he is perceived in the repentant heart. To him, I offer my respectful obeisances. So that is the gratitude that the child expresses. So instead of saying, why I am bent like a bow, why must I take all the terrible food stuff? Why must Krishna put me in this condition? Instead of that, the living entity in the womb is praying, is saying, Krishna, thank you for putting me in this condition. Because whatever I get, I deserve. Whatever I get, I deserve. That is why those who see the hand of Krishna in reversals, they become devotees. Those who see hand of Krishna in reversals, they become devotees. Those who see hand of Krishna in anything, they become peaceful. Those who cannot see the hand of Krishna in anything, then no matter how much you have read, no matter how much we profess ourselves as to be devotees, we will always be disturbed and the condition will go on till they die. The fourth, another point is from see, we saw no from action comes the gift of tolerance. See, my Guru Maharaj gave three wonderful examples of three personalities. Ekanath, Sant Ekanath, you might know, right? Was a great Maharashtrian saint. And his wife was very Krishna conscious. So whenever Ekanath turned to Krishna, he would thank Krishna for sending him such a wonderful wife because she is Krishna conscious. Now, Narsi Mehta's wife was also there. But unfortunately, she was snatched away by the force of death very quickly. So Narsimata did not curse Krishna, saying, Krishna, I am singing your names and you are taking my wife. Whereas Narsimata said, Krishna, you have taken the last bit of attachment I had, and I thank you for this. I thank you, Krishna, because by force you have taken something which I was attached to. Now you have forced me to be with you. But the third best example, he said, is of the Tukaram, son Tukaram. Tukaram's wife was everything opposite of Eknath's wife. Completely opposite. She was demon number one. So everything Tukaram did for Krishna, she opposed. And right till the end, Tukaram adjusted and tolerated. And when he was going off in the aeroplane to Vaikuntha was going finally, even then Tukaram was ready to call his wife and he was telling her, you come with me now, we can go back to Krishna. But she asked him, if I also come along with you, then who is going to take care of the cows here? Who is going to take care of the land? So in that condition, Tukaram never cursed Krishna. Tukaram just thanked Krishna. Krishna, thank you so much for sending me such a terrible wife. Because the more terrible she is, the more desperate I become to take shelter of your lotus feet. See, we all might be in situations where we find it intolerable. First year of marriage, everything is honeymoon. After that, everything is down. Very seldom it goes up, right? Once in a while it goes up, but mostly it is a dream. Then it comes down again. It is like that for all of us. So even in the womb, the child accepts that it is in difficulty, but says, thank you, Krishna. You have given me a condition which is befitting, and that is your costless mercy. See the Krishna's gratefulness. Huh? See, when Krishna came to the gopis, feeling how good devotees they are, Krishna puts his hands together and said, Krishna is putting his hand together to saying to the gopis, thank you for being such nice devotees. I have thought and thought and thought what to give you, but I cannot give you anything because everything is within me and you own me. So everything that I have is already with you. The only thing I can tell you is thank you. Only reward I can give you is a reward of devotional service. I can't give you anything else. So the way we should pray, how we should pray to Krishna. Once I asked my Guru Maharaj, how should we pray to Krishna if we forget to be grateful and how to be repentant about it? He said, he asked us to remember the beautiful verse in 10th canto, 14th chapter, 12th verse. He's spoken by Brahmaji to Krishna at the end of the pastime, no, when he stole the calves and the cow boys. He said, you say this prayer to Krishna and he will make you grateful. Such a sweet prayer. He says, O Lord Adukshaja, does a mother take offense when the child within her womb kicks with his legs? And is there anything in existence, whether designated by various philosophers as real or unreal, that is actually outside your abdomen? So this is very important verse. So she doesn't take your offense, in that case. Just so Krishna will not also not take. See, she have to carry the flag of gratitude. And so 18th verse is very sweet verse, right? We should remember that as a child, we were once very grateful. For a while, we might have forgotten how to be grateful. But it's time for us to become more grateful. Whatever we were yesterday, tomorrow we must change. Otherwise, this Bhagavatam speaking is just a social ritual. So what is the point if tomorrow I cannot put this into practice? Then Bhagavatam also becomes a ritual. Never make anything related to Krishna a ritual. Every day is a new day. Every day we have to put our hands together and every day we should be prepared to be grateful to Krishna. All our gratitude actually begins with our gratitude to our spiritual master. If we are grateful to Krishna and Maharaj or Guru Maharaj, all the acharyas, then we'll always be peaceful. So we have to carry the flag of gratitude, right? This is very, very important to understand. Finally, before closing, I'll just read out the last para of this for the purport of 331.16. But Prabhupada says, therefore, there is no possibility of one's being situated in his own position unless he is blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless he is enlightened with the supreme knowledge, one has to undergo severe penalties of the hard struggle for existence in the material nature. The spiritual master is therefore the mercy manifestation of the Supreme Person. The conditioned soul has to take direct instruction from the spiritual master, and thus he gradually becomes enlightened to the path of Krishna consciousness. The seed of Krishna consciousness is sown within the heart of the conditioned soul, and one hears instruction from the spiritual master, the seed fructifies, and one's life is blessed. We'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur. Thank you very much, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhich kripa sandhuvaya patitanam pavanam. So we have, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to glorify the Lord and this wonderful Jantu's prayers. It really shows what our situation is and how we should be tolerant and adjusting. We are done in the womb of the mother. So the same thing we can do outside by the mercy of Krishna and Guru. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions or anything to share, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanyavad, Prabhuji. Wonderful explanation of the verse and the important verses that you mentioned. So there are two questions that I have. One is, you said the Supreme Personality of God, it actually forgets all our faults or all our mistakes and only remembers the little service that we have done to him. But then, how do we understand this? Just for my understanding, how do we get our punishments for that? We say it is prarabdha karma, previous lifetime karmas, and all that. So that's the first question. The second one is you told us about the three very important verses. One was 51, if I remember correctly, if you can repeat. 1, 3, 13, 31. So if you can just give those verses again, Prabhu.
12, 33, 31, 3, 31, 8, 12, 30, 13 and 18.
Okay, 12, 13 and 18. Thank you, Prabhu.
18, yeah. So the first question, what was, means, how do we miss Krishna if he forgets, then why the punishments are still being meted out, right?
Yes.
We should not. So of course, if you do some mistake, naturally the punishment has to be given. Correct. But Krishna gives in small doses. It might have been far greater what whatever we might have, we don't remember past janmas and all what we have done. So it is good we forget all those things. But Krishna remembers only, takes the good things. And we see in Bhagavatam also, Putana, right? She came with the intention of killing Krishna by giving her breast milk. But Krishna did not mind that. He knows. But he took it as Krishna, as she is giving a milk to him as a mother. So he gave her a topmost position as a Datri, as a nurse, as a mother's that is. So he takes even a small good thing you do, he takes that, and the other things he just ignores. That is one possible. The other one is in the Damodar pastime also. We can see Krishna has done so much. Himself has done a lot as a boy. He was doing a lot of mistakes and taking butter from various houses, breaking the pots. So Yashoda Mata was running after him to catch him and giving punishment. She was having a stick in her hand. She wanted to beat him, but ultimately she said she will not beat him. So the point is, she told him that, anyway, I will not beat him, but whatever you have done, punishment has to be given, so that he will not do that again. So that's why Krishna, it's not that if you're totally demoniac, he will forget about all things. If you are not doing any good thing, then that is not, then definitely he will in the Bhagavatam it says, he will put you into the lowest state of life. Patala, so much low. No, it's very difficult to even come to the human form of life. I think Naradhama is one of the words, I forgot the verse number. To that extent he can go, but nobody is perfect in this material world. Everybody is having some that is four common that mistakes and everything, cheating, propensity, everything is all there. It's always there. Some may know knowingly, some unknowingly. That's why when Arjuna in one of the Bhagavad Gita he asked, no, I don't want to do anything sinful, but somehow unknowingly it happens. Why it happens? So Krishna says, yes, it happens because of lust. So Krishna, he remembers only the good things, but if you do anything, some bad things or harming anybody or getting angry, so many other illegal activities, we have enviousness, everything is there. Krishna knows, he's in the heart, as in the heart he can understand. So punishment will be given, but in small doses. We may, because otherwise we cannot see, even if any difficult things come in our life, we are able to tolerate. Since today we are all here and listening to Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, doesn't mean that we did not have any problems in our life till now. We had so many ups and downs, but we have gone through all this. It's not because of our own endeavor. It is because of Krishna's mercy. He has given small doses and he has given the tolerance power also to withstand that. So the examination is required to go to the next stage. So this also he gives. I presume Prabhu has given to some extent whatever is possible. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. That gives us more clarity. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Domatam. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
One small question from Gita is she's asking whether the soul, when the soul comes into the mother womb, does he know that he is in some sort of a trouble? Does he know anything of that sort? Does the soul know that he's in little trouble when he comes to the mother?
No, you mean to say that he remembering the other previous births or nothing? No, he doesn't remember that.
About the future,
but
future,
yeah,
etc.
No, nothing. It's only in that womb, because his body will be prepared, based on the previous actions, karmas and all, which is done.
Okay.
Accordingly, he's given into he's put into say, when the father and mother they unite, right? It is going to the sperm, right? That particular. So it is given only according to the karma which has been done in previous generations. Based on that, is put into the womb of the particular mother. It may be a human being or animal or whatever it is. It's based on that. So especially now we are, because Jantu species is based on the human being, to such a difficult situation, right? So by reading these verses, we feel we should not get into the womb of another mother at all, right? We have forgotten that actually. But this really gives a vivid picture of this chapter, the Jantu's prayers. These prayers are very wonderful to go on reciting every day and night. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody? Mataji's, Prabhuji's? Any questions or anything you felt was very useful for you? Can share.
Hare
Nirmala
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
The
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The turmoil that the fetus undergoes inside the mother's womb, I mean, it has been very explicitly put forth today. That was an eye-opener, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. We see gynecologists and so many scientists and all these things, right? But everything is in Bhagavatam. You read the whole chapters, you can come to know how the child is growing in the womb of the mother. So beautiful. How difficult situations are there. That's why it is praying. And see, when we do prayers outside, we need all paraphernalia, right? You should have a arati plate, this thing, that thing. Without this, we cannot do. In the womb of the mother, the child is praying without any paraphernalia. Krishna is there in front of him, praying. We should have paraphernalia. So don't make things complicated. Whatever we have, with that we should pray to Krishna. Right? That is more important, glorification of the Lord. So thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna. Yes, Archana Mataji, Pratima Mataji, Pushpa Mataji. Shreya. Okay. Okay, thank you. If we don't have anything, we'll close here, Prabhu. Santosh Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much, Matajis. Let's stop here. If you don't
Hare
have anything.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Padma Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Archana Mataji, Pushpa Mataji, and Swami Prabhu Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhu.
Good promise.